I'm sure a lot of you have heard about this bill that they're trying to push in Congress right now, both Republicans and Democrats. Now, more Republicans voted for it than Democrats, but way too many Democrats voted for it. And I don't really care what side of the aisle you're on, bro. Because if you think that this is only going to affect nonprofits that are on the left, you're a fool, because as soon as these precedents get set, they can always be weaponized on the other side. You think that at some point, some liberal institutions might not turn around and use it against, I don't know, dads and second cousins for liberty or some shit? It always comes back around, which is why you should oppose these things on principle instead of actually just being like, oh, well, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, bro. Anyway, this is the Stop Terror Financing and Tax Penalties on American Hostages Act, which basically is an attack on nonprofits. This would empower the Secretary of Treasury to designate any nonprofit as a terrorist supporting organization and revoke its tax exempt status. Define terrorist. Define terrorism. Okay? Or does it just mean whatever the hell you want it to mean at any given moment? Now, remember, right-wingers, before you jump up and tap dance about this, remember when you had a meltdown because you thought that Merrick Garland's DOJ was going after families that were protesting school boards and calling them domestic terrorists? You might want to rethink that. Now, last week the bill failed, but that was only because of procedure. They're going to try to pass it again, and it's unlikely to pass this time. Why? Because the Israeli lobby is behind it. And whenever there's a powerful lobby behind a bill, all of a sudden, our Congress people put aside all their differences and they work in a bipartisan way to fuck you over and strip your rights away. And, the reason also why you should care about this is because you're going to care about it later. Because too many fucking Americans always care when it's way too fucking late. Oh, the Patriot Act. Well, why didn't you think about that at the time? Or the time it was reauthorized. It's always like, man, we really realized this was a really bad idea, like 10 years after it's passed. This bill is a full-on attack against free speech, and don't even get me started on the fact that they're about to try to bring the Stop Anti-Semitism Awareness Act up in the Senate, which is another blatant, all-out-in-your-face attack and erosion on Americans' First Amendment rights, brought to you by the Israeli lobby. And they're all pushing for that bill to come up in the Senate in the next week. That bill already passed in the House. Remember, we talked about that a few months ago. This is going to be voted on again on Wednesday. You need to call your representatives, okay? This is HR 9495. You need to call them and tell them to vote against it. Even if you don't actually care about the free speech rights of Americans, which, I know a lot of you don't. A lot of you are actually full of shit and pretty authoritarian. But just think about it this way. It will be turned on you. If you don't know who your representative is, you can go to commoncause.org to find your representative, or you can literally just Google who's my representative and you can put in your zip code and it'll show you.